All right. Well, again, welcome. Thank you for attending our first session of Fall 2020's Maverick Diversity Institute. This institute offers a challenging and unique workshops and programs to help you become a diversity certified expert on inclusivity, access, and equity in our workplace and classroom environments. The program is really so you would attend 4 of these programs over the course of the academic year. We'll be tracking your attendance just a little bit differently this year. Usually we do like a physical passport and we'll stamp that, but since everything will be virtual this year, we'll just be tracking your attendance through a sign-in form. And so I'll just share that in just a minute. And at the end of the semester or the year, whenever your passport is complete, you can, I'll reach out to you and let you know that you've completed your 4 sessions, and then we can send you a certificate of completion via the mail so that you can have that as part of your professional development plan or report for the year. And thank you all again for being here, because we know how important it is that all of us play a role in making Minnesota State University Mankato a welcoming and inclusive institution to work, learn, and grow. So again, I appreciate all of you being here today. Just a few housekeeping rules. As I mentioned before, we will be recording this, and this will go on our new Diversity and Inclusion YouTube page. So if you're looking for a new YouTube page to follow, please follow us. I'm also going to put in the chat a link to the sign-in form. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. If you can just please fill this out before the end of the session so that I know you attended. That is helpful to you and to me, so we can just keep track of your attendance for this institute program. So, and then just a couple other things. I know as we go through, you might have a question. There's 2 features of Zoom that really are great to utilize as we go through. If you do have a question, I know our presenter, Tina here, has indicated that she is happy to answer questions as she goes through the material. And so there's 2 ways we can do that. One, you can put a question in the chat and I can make sure that she sees that and I'll read that out loud. And then the other option is if you want to ask a question on your own, you can definitely raise your hand and we will call on you. There is a raise hand option that you can utilize as you are a participant here. So if you have questions about that, let me know. But those are the 2 ways that we can facilitate some discussion and conversation as we go through this. So with that, I will hand it over to Tina England, our presenter today, just to introduce yourself and tell us what organization you're here with and just a little background information.
Okay, sounds great. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. So I work for Second Harvest Heartland. It's a food bank that serves, I think it's 54 counties in Wisconsin and Minnesota. We're the largest food bank in the central Midwest. And we do multiple services. The part that I particularly work on is SNAP outreach. And so we do outreach in the whole state of Minnesota to help people learn about and sign up for this program. And so that's what I do. I've been doing this for about 6.5 years. I'm an alum from MSU, so yay. Did English and women's studies. And so Minnesota's near and dear to my heart, and I actually just live in Waseca. So before this, I was a county worker. I have run a food shelf and a small nonprofit. I have been on the program myself as a single adult and as a child. So I have lots of kind of background with this program, and I come at it from a unique kind of top-down 360-degree kind of view. I think the next step would either be the state or Feeding America if I continue on this trajectory. So I'm going to share my screen quick, and we'll get going. Can you guys see the slides? Yes? Okay, thank you, Megan. All right, so I mentioned to Megan, this is a brand new slide deck that one of my teammates put together, and so it's a little long because I haven't cleaned it up and decided what I need or not, and we do not need to touch on every slide. So we are going to talk about a lot of different things, and I don't expect you to retain all of this information. This is kind of a big general picture, and your questions are really going to inform where this goes. So be sure to ask questions and let me know what you want to know as we're going through this. I do ask that you don't be the kind of person that we don't want to out there talking about SNAP in a negative way. If you are having a conversation, just have a conversation. Don't get angry. People are entitled to their own opinions, and this is just to help inform your conversation. Okay. All right. The first thing I want to talk about is that MSU students can access all kinds of community resources. So things that are based in Mankato or Blue Earth County or the state of Minnesota, we can, as students, access these things. Many of them require citizenship versus a residency requirement, but Echo Food Shelf, anybody who lives in the area can go there. It's not even Mankato or Blue County specific. They're what we call an open food shelf. They will serve anybody who gets there. There's the campus cupboard at Crossroads Ministry, which is a student-focused, college student-focused food shelf for MSU students, and any student can go there. And for our international students, which I know MSU has a large population of international students, which is fantastic, really enriches the learning environment, but they don't have many resources here. This is one of those resources because they won't qualify for SNAP. So the campus cupboard food shelf over at Crossroads Lutheran Ministry on Dillon is the place for those folks to go. I have the campus kitchen black mini fridge here. That is in the same building, but Campus Kitchen, who does food rescue on campus, actually stocks this refrigerator with whether it's peanut butter sandwiches or Olive Garden meals or whatever they've got coming in. They make sure this fridge is stocked, and you can go in there every day, once or twice a day, whatever you need to get a meal if the doors are unlocked to the building. Minnesota Valley Action Council offers things like energy assistance and some limited housing assistance. And so that's a good opportunity for students who are renting a home or have a lot more utilities that they have to pay for. Open Door Health Center is a great companion or accompaniment with the campus services that are available. And they work with low insurance or no insurance folks. And so that's fantastic. You can go there if you have full insurance as well. They have physical medical doctors, they have mental health practitioners, and then they have a dental clinic as well. The Salvation Army offers different programs. Right now they're getting ready for their Bundle Me Warm program, where they will have winter clothing available for a free shopping opportunity. You can contact the local office and get more details on that. But they have some limited energy assistance or sometimes a car repair. They work with homeless folks a lot. And we do have homeless college students, so that would be a good resource as well. Of course, with COVID, everything is kind of upended, right? And so the shelter is functioning a little differently, and it won't be open until October, but when it opens, it will be different. The Salvation Army in general is not doing their dining. They're doing kind of a sack lunch pickup. They have showers available and laundry available, but not during COVID. And so some of those resources just aren't available like they normally would be. Blue Earth County has resources available as well. SNAP is decided on the county level, and so they make the decisions on the applications we submit. But they also have emergency assistance, and so utility disconnects or evictions, they can sometimes help with those. And then they also do medical assistance. If you have a student going through a ton of medical issues, no insurance through family or whatever, the county administers that program as well. SMERLS, or Southern Minnesota Regional Legal Services, provides help with civil law issues. So you have an unlawful detainer, you have an eviction notice that you want to appeal, different things like that. then SMERLs can oftentimes come in and help with that. They help some of the people I work with who've been denied, and we can't figure out why they were denied, and so they'll help them file an appeal. Great organization working all over kind of southern and central Minnesota. And then United Way 211. 211 is all over the United States. Every state you go in, they're going to have a 211, and it's an information service for resources. Here in Minnesota, it's run by the United Way, and you can call them and ask for the Section 8 housing telephone number. You can call them and ask for the nearest food shelf. You can ask them where the nearest Boy and Girls Club is, where's the nearest homeless shelter. They have all kinds of information. So that is another great resource where I go sometimes to help people find things if I don't know. So the first, going into SNAP now, does anybody want to ask any questions about community resources? I'll just keep going, and Megan, you interrupt me if you see anything.
I haven't seen any questions yet, so
okay,
go ahead.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Thank you. So what is SNAP? SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It is the federal and state name for food assistance. It used to be called food stamps because you got actual coupons or stamps to go to the store. Now, there's a picture there of the old version of the debit card. You get a debit card to go to the grocery store. Sometimes people call it EBT, and that is actually the name for the card. That is an electronic benefit transfer card, food support, and like I said, food stamps. We're really trying to get away from the stigma associated with food stamps, and so we're calling it SNAP, EBT, food support, those things. All right. SNAP helps low-income Minnesotans get the food they need for sound nutrition and well-balanced meals. This is not extra money to go buy the biggest birthday cake you can find in the grocery store, right? Or the biggest bag of potato chips. The intention here is to provide healthy, nutritious food access. It is not meant to be an entire food budget. The minimum amount available in Minnesota is $16. We've actually had people who get a zero benefit where their income is just right on the income threshold, and so they qualify, but they don't actually get any money as a benefit. That opens doors, though. That gets them access to free and reduced lunch with minimal forms. That gets you help during emergency situations. Like right now, we're in a state of emergency, and so eSNAP, or Emergency SNAP, is in play. What that means, no matter what your benefit award amount is, like if you're getting the 0 or the 16, now during that state of emergency, it goes up to the maximum level for your household size. So I'm an individual, I'm getting $16 a month, right? That maximum award is $194 for the month. And so as long as we're in that state of emergency, that's $194 a month that I'm getting for groceries. Some people, I had one guy a couple weeks ago who's like, I won't even cross the street for $16. And I'm like, well, I would. So it's, you know, the ball's in his park, it's in his court. But it's also beneficial because you just never know what other door it's going to open. It can also get you reduced access to zoos and museums when they're open. And sometimes, well, Amazon, for example, has a reduced Prime membership if you're on SNAP or if you're a college student. So it's helpful there as well. And the average monthly benefit here in Minnesota has been about $105 a month, so per person. And so we're seeing that averaged out. You know, you've got, like I said, some folks with 0 and some folks with, you know, $500 or $600 depending on family size. The goal is to provide the freshest, most nutritious food possible. Food waste is a huge issue in our country, and SNAP is actually helping address some of that. You can purchase what you want, when you plan to eat it at the store of your choice. You're not going to be given, here's a box of food, make do, right? You can go to the store and eat according to dietary needs, according to what you prefer, so you're not throwing away things. There's a lot less waste, even to the point of no waste, hopefully. And then the debit card maintains that privacy. And then it stimulates the economy. A lot of people don't realize that this is federal money coming into the state and being distributed at the county level here in Minnesota. Every state does it different. But that's money that we bring into our own community. So if I'm in Mankato, I can choose if I'm going to shop at Aldi or Cub or Hy-Vee. I know there's a halal store, at least one. Um, I heard there was an Indian market. You can use it at Quick Trip. So you can choose where you're going to go spend this money, and it brings money into your local economy. Here in Greater Minnesota, that's huge. I live in Waseca. We have Walmart and Quick Trip for groceries right now because our Hy-Vee store closed, and then Cashwise came in and they closed. And we just didn't have enough money coming in to keep them open. So that's an important piece here in Minnesota, in Greater Minnesota. So why do we do SNAP outreach? Okay. Excuse me. If we were meeting in person, I would actually hand you an application. It comes in a booklet, and it's 9 pages long with rights and responsibilities and rules and all kinds of things with it. So it's daunting to apply for this program. In addition to that, we have done surveys with professional consultants and companies, and we're finding that more than 165 million meals are missing in Minnesota. And that's when we're out asking people, have you skipped a meal? Did you eat 3 times a day? Do you feel like you're eating enough? And hearing about how people are not feeding themselves to take care of other family members and things like that. Only 81% of eligible Minnesotans are currently taking advantage of the program. Now, 2 years ago, we were up to 83. And now we're down to 81, and there's a couple of different reasons for that. Last year I was presenting about public charge, which is a rule or a limitation that the federal government has, and they've expanded it so that it's become a little bit more restrictive and people are not applying. So that's one reason why that's kind of dropped off. People believe they're not, oh, yep.
I just wanted to let you know I did share the link, the online link to sign up for SNAP through the Department of Human Services. I just put that in the chat in case you want to go check it out.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And there's so many people who really are looking into this program right now that if you can apply on your own, fantastic. We get a lot of people calling and just asking a couple of questions because they're not sure, you know, what does this question mean on this form? What does this look like? And we'll get into more details about that in a few slides. So thank you, Megan. And then the application process, and people don't think they're eligible. And when we get to the income guidelines, a lot of people have kind of an aha moment. Oh, I might actually qualify. And so what our job is to help people overcome these barriers and get through that application process. All right. When in doubt, when you're talking to someone and you're just not sure, refer them to me, refer them to the county. The county doesn't do a whole lot with helping fill out forms or answer questions. They hand out a big packet, and in that packet is my name and phone number. So just yesterday, I think I had 3 phone calls just from people picking up packets at the county and then having follow-up questions. So when in doubt, refer. When we're talking households, every government program has a slightly different definition. So a SNAP household is everyone who lives together and shops, cooks, and eats together more than 50% of the time. And I've got some examples here in the bullet points. If you have somebody who's under 22 and still living at home with their parents while going to school, they have to apply with their parents. The federal government, Congress put a rule in that said until you're 22, your parents are responsible for you if you're living in their home. Okay, if you're 22 or older, that doesn't apply anymore and you can apply as an individual. If you're living in the dorms on one of the lowest priced meal plans, you're getting the least amount of meals possible, you may qualify for SNAP. Just because you're a dependent of your parents doesn't mean you can't get SNAP because you're not living with them. You're living in the dorms. Excuse me. There's family style where everybody is sharing food together. So you do one big grocery run and everybody eats together all of the time, okay? We see this when we have siblings rooming together or renting together. Not so much with people who are just meeting up at college. We see a lot more of the applicant living with roommates who do not share food. Now, the county lives in a very black and white world, right? It's you're sharing food or you're not sharing food. Your food is separate or it's not. I understand there's always going to be like the communal bottle of ketchup. That's not sharing every meal, shopping every time for everybody in the house, okay? If you're homeless, unless you have dependents with you, you're considered an individual household. And then if you're an applicant who's feeding a homeless friend, that gets to be a little gray area, but I still encourage people to apply. And then have your friend apply too. So technically, if you're feeding that person occasionally, like if you have company over for dinner kind of thing, then you don't have to put them on your form. But if this is a regular arrangement, then you have to apply together. And I walk people through what these situations are. Okay. SNAP eligibility. The first thing we do is we talk about household size and gross income. Again, if somebody is interested, send them our way. We make referrals to other organizations as well, like on that slide with Echo Food Shelf and MVAC and Salvation Army. We connect with all of those. Sorry. If a student has federal or state-funded work study, they are categorically eligible. That means no matter how many hours they're working, as long as they're below the income guideline, they will qualify and should apply. Okay, now they have to do all the paperwork pieces and meet all the deadlines, but income-wise, that's just an automatic, oh, great, you made it through the first test. AmeriCorps, Green Corps, all of those students typically qualify because of their stipend status. And if they have a second job, it really comes down to where are they on the income spectrum and do they meet that guideline. And then grants, loans, and scholarships are counted differently. Typically, a loan is not counted as income because you have to repay it, but grants and scholarships are. So even if that doesn't come through the student, it still counts as income for them. So a lot of times we may see that first month of school where they might be over income, but then throughout the semester they're not. Income guidelines. This changes every October 1st. And so this is the guidelines starting next month, 2 weeks or a week and a half. And so what we've got is we look at household family income before taxes here. Almost everybody we work with fits this category right here. This second category is for people over the age of 60, and if they're disabled, like Social Security level, determined disabled, unable to work, okay? And then we look at their net income after some deductions like housing cost and medical. So this again can be kind of confusing and tricky, but generally speaking, household of one can make up to $1,755 gross or before taxes. And if they're at or below that, then I would encourage them to apply because they may qualify, okay? They qualify based on that income guideline. Household of two, it's yourself and your spouse. Household of three, yourself, spouse, and child, or yourself and 2 children, okay? And so this is people who share food regularly, not just people living together. Determine citizenship. All US citizens have the right to apply, even if they're a minor. So I have helped people who go to MSU who came as international students but then had children here. And I have helped them apply for their citizen children. It does not put any future immigration status barriers in place for the adults in the household if they're not included on the program. They're listed on the application, but not included on the program. And that's kind of a fine distinction where people can get into trouble and then end up having some issues either trying to get their citizenship in the future or if they're here illegally and they're working under an assumed name and they put that name on the form, that will get them in trouble for fraud. And so I have helped people who are here illegally because I live and work in Waseca and we have a bird's eye plant. And so sometimes that comes up, and it's unfortunate, and I really wish the immigration system worked better, but we have helped them apply for their citizen children who had the right to be on the program. If you are a lawful permanent resident or have your green card, you can apply right away if you're here as an asylee or a refugee, and there's a couple of other lesser known statuses. But typically, if you're just here with a regular green card, whether it's a spousal or sponsored or something like that, after 5 years of residence with your green card, then you can apply to the program. Before that, you can apply for citizen children, but not for yourself. Excuse me. DACA students, unfortunately, do not qualify for SNAP. That is part of the DACA status, is that they have agreed to have that status, that they won't seek this assistance. So unfortunately, they can't apply for themselves, and I have helped a lot of folks with this as well here in Minnesota, but they can apply for their children. There's a consistent theme here. Everybody who's applying must have a valid social security number. So if that comes into question at all, that's kind of it boils down to that. So the Senate and the House, Congress, put in some specific rules applying to college students. Now I'm going to go over two rules. One is for college students, students who are specifically in college. The other one is for ABODs, able-bodied adults without dependents. And so that's college-age people, but not in college. Okay, and you'll see the difference here in a minute. All students attending post-secondary schools more than half-time as defined by the school must have a paid job, not meet a certain hour requirement, must have a paid job, working at least 20 hours a week. So the requirement is in there. I meet all the other criteria, the income, the citizenship, providing all the documentation in order to qualify. I'm going to go back and forth between slides here. For ABODs, people who are not in college, or they're going less than half-time, they must have a paid job to maintain a benefit after qualifying. So as an ABOD, you can get 3 months of help in a 3-year period without a job. And right now that has been put on hold. We have a waiver. Sounds like it's been extended through June of 2021. So that 3-month minimum or maximum has been put on hold, and the clock isn't ticking for anybody on that. So it seems like I'm making a big deal out of this, but this gets really confusing for people. So you could be on SNAP and then enroll in school and not qualify for SNAP because you enrolled in college, but you're not working 20 hours a week. And so that's an important distinction. So all college students attending more than half-time must have a paid job working 20 hours a week or 80 hours in a month to qualify. Work study is an automatic exemption. If you have a dependent, you're exempted from the work requirement. If you are under 18 or over 50 or disabled, you are exempted from that work requirement. If you're getting assistance in some other way, or depending on, like if you're getting funding from the WIOA funding, that's more at South Central, more technical education, but some of those students are also exempted from that work requirement. If you have any questions, or if you're working with a student who's like, I don't get it, I got it here, but I'm not getting it there, have them talk to me and I can help explain this and make sure that's what's causing the confusion, or if there's something else going on. Okay. On the ABODs, there are some exemptions there as well. Of course, it's a government program. If you're in GED or ESL classes, you can be exempted from that 20-hour-a-week work requirement. If you're in one of those job training programs, or if you have a dependent. And there's more, but those are kind of the key ones. Okay. So the application process, right? You complete the combined application form, which is this packet, and it says combined application form. You interview with a local county financial worker. So you turn it in, they get you in the computer system, and somebody from the county is going to call you to interview you and ask clarifying questions about the form you submitted. You have to provide supporting documents, and this is where our students need a lot more help getting things scanned and emailed, or getting things faxed, or getting things mailed. I've had students from MSU who had no idea where to pick up or drop off mail, or where to buy a stamp. And so some of those things our students really need some direction with. So supporting documents are things like pay stubs, proof of what you're paying for housing, utilities if it's specific, like if you're paying for propane, tuition, financial aid statements, and proof of enrollment. So class schedule works, something like that. So those are the kinds of supporting documents needed for this application process. And then if you qualify, an EBT card is mailed to you within 30 days. Or you can pick it up at the county often if you're expedited. And that's a special circumstance where you have, for example, you have rent, you have zero income because you recently lost your job, and then you would fall, and you have less than a certain amount of assets, then you would fall into that expedited category. So the EBT cards are mailed out just like a regular credit or debit card, and so folks have to watch their mail. And if it doesn't arrive, or if there's a problem with it, then we can help people kind of navigate through how to do that as well. So this is part of our team. We actually have 2 people not photographed here or pictured here, but we have 10, or we are one of the top 10 in the nation. And we carry 40% of the outreach caseload for the state. There are, I think, 20 or 30 organizations in the state doing this same work. We carry 40% of that referral load. We're currently assigned to 15 counties in a DHS grant. So Tina England, I'm up in that corner, and it says Blue Earth, Brown, Nicollet, LeSueur, or Watonwan counties. According to DHS, that's where I specifically focus my outreach and where I spend most of my time. Pre-COVID and eventually post-COVID, I actually go out and do things like the farmers market that we had at MSU a couple weeks ago. I would have been there talking to people, doing applications, handing out flyers. So that's us. Receiving benefits. Benefits are provided on a monthly basis, and it comes on that debit card. So it's like having direct deposit, and you can use it at retailers just like a debit card. You swipe your card, you choose whether you're going to spend cash or food, and if you're applying just for SNAP, you only have food. You punch in your PIN number, and then you authorize that purchase from the sales transaction. If you don't have enough money on the card, you have to know what your balance is, authorize only that amount, and then pay for the difference with a different form of payment. If you're buying non-food items like toilet paper or toothpaste or laundry soap, you have to pay for those with cash or gift card, some other method of payment. You can't buy those with the food money. They can be used 365 days from issuance. So what you're issued in September 2020, you have until September 2021 to spend. And basically it's the oldest money is spent first, but this emphasizes you can bank that money. And this is something I talk about with seniors a lot. You have a garden, you don't need access to this necessarily in the summer, but come December, January, February, if you've banked that money, then you can comfortably go get fresh produce and some good quality protein or meat. And then benefits may be used to purchase food items only. Now, I mentioned convenience stores like Quick Trip earlier. I'm sorry, we have somebody painting outside and it's getting to me. You can purchase non-hot prepared food items. So you're at the grocery store or the Quick Trip and they have the prepared salads or a prepared sub sandwich, not cooked. You can buy those. You can buy the Hy-Vee branded pizza that you have to take home and cook, but you cannot buy it already cooked. You can't buy a hot rotisserie chicken because it's been cooked. You can't use it on a buffet. This is great for students who are struggling with either being prepared or last minute stuff comes up. They can run to a Quick Trip nearby, for example, because I know there's one right there. And they can purchase some food and then take it back to campus and eat it, right? It's also really, really helpful if you're homeless. If you're homeless, you can purchase your food. For example, my mom works at Quick Trip, so I know this. You can purchase the uncooked pizza, pay for it, and then ask them to cook it for you. And they will do that. And that's fantastic advice if you're homeless. You can purchase the little microwave meals and then use their microwave, or ask them in the kitchen to use their microwave, to put it in their microwave, and they can heat that up for you. So there's options out there for the folks who are homeless as well, besides just carrying around a jar of peanut butter. This is a very quiet group. There's no questions yet. Recertification or renewal. Okay, so every state does this a little differently, and Minnesota has a waiver to do simplified reporting, which is in quotes for a reason. Households complete a report every 6 months and recertify every 12 months. So you apply filling out the 9-page form. At 6 months, you recertify with a 9-page form, or with a 6-page form. And then at the 12-month point, you redo the 9-page application. Seniors and disabled adults only have to report every 12 to 24 months, depending on if they have medical assistance and employment, because then they'll have to report more often. And we help with those as well. If somebody moves, they need to report that change. We have those forms. If somebody moves into or out of the household, we can help fill out those forms. So there's lots of myths and misconceptions. There's lots of stuff that just is floating out there, right? And if you ever hear something that you're like, that just seems really not right, call or email me. I am more than happy to help explain either where that's coming from and what it really means, or just to debunk it, or maybe even to say, yeah, really, that's what's going on. At first, when I was working with college students and I was learning that college student rule, I was like, that can't be right. And then I went back and did some research, and yeah, it is. So SNAP is a welfare program is a myth. It is a nutrition program from the USDA. It's included in the Farm Bill. Here in Greater Minnesota, or anywhere that's rural and farming, that's a totally different language than welfare, right? You get crop payments from the USDA. You get insurance from them for your crops or your herds or whatever you happen to be doing agriculturally. So this is a nutrition program from the USDA. You can choose to receive SNAP and not be eligible for cash assistance, or not even ask for cash assistance. Everyone will know that I'm on food stamps. That's why we switched to the debit card. It looks like a credit card, and it's very different. And if anybody's being that nosy, then they're going to know who you bank with anyway, and they shouldn't be being that nosy. I can't get SNAP because I own a car. Yes, you can. Right now in Minnesota, and again, I keep emphasizing that because every state is different, you can have your primary car. You can have your primary home, and they are not counted against you as an asset. So vehicles aren't counted. Only unemployed people can get SNAP. Going back to that ABOD rule, the able-bodied adults without dependents. If you're unemployed, normally you can get 3 months of help in a 3-year period, but the push is for you to get some kind of paid employment, right? 20 hours a week or more. So that's wrong. If you are consistently unemployed, chronically unemployed, number one, there's something else going on that probably needs to be addressed. And number two, typically you won't get it for more than the 3 months. If I get SNAP, I won't be able to use the food shelf or qualify for other programs like WIC or CSFP. This is the Commodity Senior Food Program. It's also got an acronym called NAPS, Nutrition Assistance Program for Seniors. You can imagine how many times SNAP and NAPS are confused. And Second Harvest Heartland does both programs. So claiming SNAP benefits, applying and receiving these does not exclude or disqualify anybody from applying for any of these other food programs. As a matter of fact, I talk about this this is resources, and I talk about resources like a quilt. Everybody uses resources. In my life right now, I use resources like, who do I know that has a truck to help me empty my garage? Who do I know that's available to help me watch my grandson when I have to go out of town for a meeting? And people come to me for help with things, right? Faxing stuff, whatever. That's resources that we're using and sharing. This is the same thing. This is knowing who and where to go to get those food resources to stretch your actual money. Not going to share that right now unless you want to see it. And here's our contact information. So we've got our general SNAP hotline number. We have a Metro number, and then we have a toll-free number. And then I've got my direct cell phone number there, my direct email address. And then if you start making regular referrals, I know Megan's office, I have a few folks who make regular referrals. You can either email them to me directly, or you can send them to the snaprefer@twoharvest.org email address. We're kind of getting away from that regional, I'm only covering this area kind of attitude in our work, and we're sharing out a lot of that work. And so, like, I'm on PTO next week. If you send it to my personal email, it's not going to go anywhere, but if you send it to the Snap Refer, then it will get called. Somebody will get called. All right. That's all I have for slides. Any questions?
Yeah, hi. My name is Bree, and I'm a student at Concordia in Moorhead. And I'm wondering how that works, because I'm not in the same area that you guys are talking about, and how that would work if I want to, like, say this to college students here, and how they can apply if they need the assistance, and if it works completely different, or if it's still the same type of thing.
Same thing. I work with college students. I work with people all over the state of Minnesota. I'm not physically going to come to your campus because it's not in my region according to the state, and we're not going anywhere anyway. So, Brianna, you could have the students call either the toll-free number, the 844-764-5513 number, or you could have them email snaprefer@twoharvest.org. If it's somebody who's really on the fence and they just need to have a conversation with someone about it, then have them call me directly. And then I'll have that conversation, answer their questions, help them with an application if that's what they want to do. So no matter where you live, we can help you in Minnesota.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. I talked to Lead Minnesota, which is the student Senate folks. And so they've got some information too. Definitely send folks our way. We're happy to help.
Perfect.
Another question that's out there that went in the chat is there a website that we can refer students to with all of the resources you mentioned at the beginning? Or another option too is, can we maybe get a copy of your presentation we can send to everyone who's participating here today?
Yep, I sent Megan a PDF of the presentation about 10 minutes before we started because I'm so prepared. Sorry about that. And 211 is a great website for just general information. You can send people to our website at Second Harvest. That would be toharvest.org. And then we have a snap page there with resources. We're working on this. Right now, they're not regional specific. We have open food shelves in the metro. We have Fare for All, which is a discount purchase program. And it does come to Mankato. We don't have the produce stuff on there very well. So you can do that. You can 211secondharvest.org, or have people just get a hold of us. We do a lot of just pointing towards resources. I do a lot of that. I had somebody who I helped before. They actually were a student at South Central, and they have since graduated and moved to a different city. And so they were looking for what kind of resources were available where they moved to, because I had helped them with what was available in Mankato. So yeah, definitely just those kinds of options. Absolutely.
Yep, I put both of those websites in the chat if you want to copy those and bookmark them.
And we are working on our website. I took a new position, and so one of my focuses is updating the website and doing communications. So hopefully we'll get that better. Come on, I know you guys have some more questions. Either something you've heard that you're like, is this real? Or
yeah, are there yeah, I was just gonna say, if there's other questions, let's go ahead and ask those. Otherwise, it would be great if maybe we could have everyone turn on their camera and just introduce themselves and say also what area you work in or where you're at. Just a quick introduction, because I see a lot of you are in different areas in campus, and so I think it might be nice to have you all maybe just quick introduce yourselves too.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, I'm Bobby Urban. I work in TRIO Student Support Services at MSU.
Wonderful.
Thanks for doing
Hi,
this
Bobby.
presentation. Very helpful.
Good, good.
Paku, do you want to go next?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Paku Lee, and I serve as the Interim Director of Asian American Affairs within our Multicultural Center at Minnesota State University.
Awesome.
Peng?
Hi everyone, I'm Payne. I'm a GA for Asian American Affairs, and I'm in my second year for my master's program in Student Affairs in MSU.
Cool.
Perfect. Brianna?
Hi, I'm Brianna. I am a social work major, fourth year college student at Concordia Moorhead. And I am just an RA, and I work with the diversity and other programs on campus. So I thought this would be interesting to watch.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Emily?
Hi, I just started as an interim financial aid advisor with Student Financial Services on campus at MSU.
Great. Holly?
I'm Holly Stanley. I work in student success here at MSU Mankato.
Awesome.
Mel?
I'm Mel Iverson. I am a student relations coordinator in the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences.
Okay, cool.
Krishia?
I'm Krisha Wellborn. I am the administrative assistant in the psychology department in Mankato.
Cool. Thanks for checking in.
And then Jen?
Hi there. Sorry, I can't get my camera working. I've been having troubles with it. I don't know why. I'm a student majoring in social work at MSU Mankato.
Great.
Awesome. So social work and psychology, you're working with people from lots of different, well, they're coming from everywhere, right? All kinds of different backgrounds, and they're all in different circumstances. And it's one thing I have learned. I've been doing this for a long time. And one of the things I've learned is you have to listen to somebody's story to really figure out what they need. They might call saying, oh, I just need food. But no, they probably need help getting signed up for medical. Or they might need help with housing. Maybe they're homeless, but they don't really feel like they're homeless because they're couch hopping with friends. some of those things come up. And so it's really important. I've moved 28 times. And so over the years, I learned that wherever I go, I tend to gather resources and I start talking to people. And I always ask, well, who else should I talk to? Who else should I talk to? What am I missing? And so I try to share that with the people I work with. When I'm talking to somebody who this is their first or second year out from their parents' house, they don't know to do this. And so I spend a lot of time just kind of sharing that wisdom with people so that they can help themselves down the road. And that's important.
Thank you. It was very informative.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I love talking to people about this. So have you guys heard things about the program that you're like, I don't know?
I think for me, and some of the concerns that some of the students I work with was when the public charge was happening, and I think you talked briefly about it in the beginning, but you can just talk a little bit more about that and what we can tell students if they're worried about applying.
Absolutely, absolutely. So public charge is, if you're here with a green card already, you're okay. If you're here in a student status, it could get in the way of applying for citizenship down the road. If you're here illegally, whether that's you came across the border illegally or your visa or passport has expired, then this can become an issue for you. The key thing with public charge is you can apply for your citizen children or citizen relatives, but you cannot apply for yourself. Your name will still be on that application, but you're not checking the box about what program you want to be in. And so that's the big thing. Public charge has been out there since, I think, the 1800s, in different capacities and different incarnations. And so right now they have made it more restrictive. They put more things that qualify for consequences under this public charge umbrella. Cash assistance has always been under public charge. So you're here illegally, you have a family, and you apply for cash assistance, that would, for yourself and your family, that would put your chance for citizenship in jeopardy. If you're here illegally and you need medical, okay, medical is now under public charge, but there is an emergency medical assistance program federally that people can still get help with, but basically you have to be in the ER and the right paperwork has to be filed with right people, okay? The other thing that came under it recently was housing. You cannot live in public subsidized housing and not be a legal, lawful citizen. So we saw a lot of people, this was last year that this came out, and we saw a lot of people who are in mixed status families. And so one household member is not a citizen, the other parent or adult in the household is, and then the children maybe are, and they had to make some decisions. Do we move out of this subsidized housing and pay a lot more or maybe become homeless? Or do we split our family? Because that one non-citizen cannot live there. And so that was another thing that we saw a lot of people really struggling with federally on the national level. Good question, Paku. Did I answer it? Okay.
Another question.
Okay.
I earlier in one of your slides, you had a thing about grants and financial aid. How does it all account into like maybe a student's income or something and their eligibility?
Yep. So scholarships and grants count as income. Loans do not. Student loans. Now, if you go get a bank loan, that would count as income, but student loans do not. Wages from a job count as income. Social Security income counts as income. If you're a foster parent and you're getting paid to foster those children, that counts as income. Child support counts as income. Unemployment counts as income. Trying to think what else there is. Using the IRS definition doesn't work because it doesn't apply here. It's different. The state has different rules. So, yeah. And a lot of times when we screen people, we really try to drill down into that income, and we try to make sure people understand it is gross income. It is the income before all the taxes, before the medical insurance and retirement funds, if you're in that kind of a job. It's that amount, not what gets deposited in the bank, but what the employer says they really pay you. So that's important too.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or thoughts?
No, we have a video that's available. It's on YouTube, I think, and it's really awesome if you wanted to go watch that. And that's something good that you can share out. Brianna, that might be good for you in your particular application, or those of you who are staff or faculty, it might be helpful to just make sure people have that link, and even maybe if you have a resource sheet for your department that you've made, throw that on there, because it explains SNAP and how it works, and has our contact information as well. So there is an online portal called applymn.org. You can go there and do the online portal application, or you can do the paper application with us over the phone, or you can get one by yourself, either in the mail or by stopping into the county office. Like I said, folks often have it in hand and they're like, oh, I don't know. And so a lot of times we'll either follow along with them as they fill it out, answering their questions, or they'll follow along as we fill it out, answering their questions. Right now, there's some news that's coming out of the House of Representatives from last night about the continuing resolution to fund the government, and some continuation of some of these emergency waivers and things has been put in there as well. Hasn't passed Senate yet, so it's not real. But we're hearing that pandemic EBT is going to be extended, and that is the free and reduced lunch meal replacement program. It is not food stamps. It is not regular EBT. It is a completely separate program. And anybody who had kids on free or reduced lunch in school, private school, public school, as long as it was the national free or reduced lunch program, will qualify for some help from that. Now, the deadline for the program that's already been issued was in July, and the appeal deadline, I think, was yesterday here in Minnesota. But if this gets through Senate and becomes law, then we'll be able to hopefully help more people who missed that first deadline apply for this program. For missed meals during last school year, so from March to May, the missed school meals, they gave $625 per child, which was huge for some of these families. And then the state kicked in an additional $100 for each child for missed summer meals. And so if that enrollment opens up again, folks who missed that, we're hoping to reach out to anybody who contacted us. But if you're talking to anybody, definitely have them get online and apply for that. They had an online form to apply for that as well. And then where was I going with that? Oh, the continuation of waivers. And so when we're working with somebody and we're filling out this form, right? The combined application form. I was showing it earlier and then I realized, no, the PowerPoint's up, they're not seeing it. It's 9 pages long, and plus rights and responsibilities and lots of blocks and whatever. And it can be very intimidating. And so we will help fill that out over the phone. And then we have an authorization right now to do a verbal signature. If somebody gives us permission, we can sign the form on their behalf. Typically, we would mail it to somebody for them to sign, and then they would mail it back to us, and then we would turn it in. So this speeds up the process immensely. So we do a verbal signature, we fax or email it off to the county, and then it's there, it's date stamped, and the time clock starts ticking on that application process, right? And then we mail them what we filled out so that there's total transparency. There's no, oh, you're filling this out and nobody, I don't know what you said kind of thing. We're mailing this form out to people so that they have it. The day that they receive the application, specifically the first page of the application, is when that clock starts ticking. And that's when that 30-day window to get through that process starts. Did that raise any more questions? Okay, so we have regular SNAP or food support. We have pandemic EBT, the free and reduced lunch meal replacement program. And then we have eSNAP or emergency SNAP, which brings everybody up to that maximum benefit level as long as we're in a state of emergency. All right.
Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you again. Tina, thank you for presenting to us. I think you have a lot of really great information and we really appreciate your time today. Again, I will send out to everyone the PowerPoint that Tina provided, and I think you have all the other resources that we've talked about. And again, this video will be available to view on our YouTube channel after I get it uploaded. So thank you again all for attending the first of our Maverick Diversity Institute sessions. We look forward to the rest of the semester with some other exciting sessions coming up. And have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Bye.
All right.